Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome to the Podocasts on the KPOD network. And thank you very much. We got a guest. I had to dress up, man. We got a guest. Two minds, two voices, crypto for the consumer, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. No hype, just the facts. Straight shooting in a space that is anything but straight. We are that's real important today, man. We are bringing you blockchain the way we see it and how we are playing it. I am your host of the podcast, Scott, pragmatic investor who has won and lost fortunes, and joining me as always is the greatest producer of all time, the one, the only, the original, the mighty Bell. How are you doing tonight, hon?
It's been an incredibly busy day so far, Scott. Yeah, I'm doing well now. How are you tonight?
Busy, man. I did the morning show. I did a space. None of you guys tuned in, man. What is it? I talk on Twitter and all of a sudden I'm like persona non grata, man. That hurts. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts a little bit.
Well, maybe if you told me that that you were doing a space, I would have shown up.
Yeah, had I known I was doing the space, I would have told you. I just got a message. Hey, pop in, do the space with us. Okay, I can do that. I don't work well without a script. I everything I do is 100% scripted. So I need it written down, or I'm at a complete loss. So it was a fun space though, and we'll talk about it afterward. This space, this one, crypto, can be confusing. We are doing our very best to educate and entertain. So grab a seat, fill your glass, and let's get to it on the podcast right here on on the Podcast Network. Thank you. That's me. I've been on the mic just way too much today, so I'm starting to lose it a little bit. We also have a special guest. Do you guys know Maston? Have you heard of Maston? Maston, are you there? Maston, are you
Yes, I
muted?
am. I was muted.
We'll get him there, man. Yeah, we also have Maston. And again, guys, big round of applause. Maston just turned 16. He has a fantastic mustache. And now I feel bad about it, because I don't know what the drinking age is in Canada. What is it up there, Maston? Is it 16? Because you drink a lot. So what's the drinking age up there, bro?
It depends what province you're in, but here it's 19.
19 years old. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, you're in there. You're well done. So we're talking Jackal today, guys. That's it. We're talking to Jackal about the guy who knows it better than effectively anybody else. Now, keep in mind, Maston is a CTO, chief technology officer. So the cool stuff that you're seeing, Maston built. The intro video that you guys were watching when we came in, that is actually Maston picked the song. I said pick a song. Guess get to choose. He sent me that one. It really changed my mindset on you a little bit, bro, because a lot of the other stuff you were sending me is a little bit heavier and different. And then you sent me like a jazz classic here, and I was like, okay, that's a little unusual, but we recorded it. I uploaded the file to Jackal storage. I created a share link. View the video. I posted it up and we played it directly. Now, I'm going to use that as a perfect segue, Maston. Maybe you could tell everybody what just happened by me doing those things and how it happened, because you are the CTO. So if anybody knows, what just occurred on the back end that people are simply not aware of.
Yeah. So it's been a long time coming on sharing. Essentially, there's kind of two major components to it. One is on the chain side, every single file tree item, which is how we kind of manage all the metadata around your files, has kind of two entries. One is viewer entries and one is editor entries. And this is kind of our first jump into sharing. So we've really only been using the viewer entries for this. But essentially what we do is we take Jackal.js, which is kind of the second part. It's kind of our standardized developer interface for interacting with the Jackal protocol. And that system will go and it will generate a key for every single file you upload. And then when you take that key is encrypted and put directly into that viewers field on the actual file on chain. So there's an encrypted copy of the key that unlocks your file on the chain. Now, when we want to go and share that file, because every single crypto address is made up of your public key and your private key. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that. If you guys don't know, that's kind of what your seed phrase does, is it turns into a private key. And then you generate your address from the public key that's generated from the private key that comes from your seed phrase. That's why you can have like a bunch of different addresses and everything with just the one seed phrase. But because all of crypto works in that way, we're able to encrypt data against your public key. And so we've taken that data, and when I share a file with you, I'm re-encrypting that key with your public key and posting it to chain. So then only you can now download it. So that works really, really great for like peer-to-peer sharing if I want to send you something. But if I want to share it with the entire world, essentially what we do is we create basically a one-time fake private key for a dummy account. And that account is embedded directly into a link. And so when you go to the Vault or any other third-party app using Jackal, they can get this little key. And when you share it with a link, you get this brand new little key. And it's kind of just a brand new public key and a brand new private key. And that public key is embedded into the chain. And the private key is embedded into the link. And so now what you have is this really cool system where I can hand anybody basically a public-private key pair that they don't even need a crypto wallet to use. And we built out this interface so that when you upload a file, that link is actually being read from all of, like the URL has those key pairs in it, and the website's actually reading that data, decrypting the file and everything, and then showing it to you.
And yeah, I get it. I understand that one, but I want to talk about this philosophically for a minute, because what you did is actually pretty fucking heroic, and it seems like it's lost on a lot of people. So when I play that video that I just played when we started this, is that running through Jackal.js, or am I playing that directly from the storage provider?
So a little bit of both. Jackal.js only runs in your client. So in your browser itself, that's where Jackal.js is. And so essentially that video is coming straight from the storage providers as an encrypted file. And then we use Jackal.js and your Kepler wallet, or in this case, the actual like URL that you're seeing it from, to decrypt that file. So if I was to send you a brand new file, even without using that link, same thing. If you're logged into Kepler or Leap, we're going to use your wallet private key to decrypt that file as it comes off the storage providers.
So Jackal.js is the encryption mechanism. You encrypt it, you unencrypt it, but I'm streaming this directly from the storage provider. So yeah, I mean, and I know you know, but for some reason I have not been able to get this across to the general world exactly what is happening here, because you guys are doing something that nobody in blockchain is doing. I mean, just absolutely nobody is doing it. Maybe a little bit with like IPFS and stuff like that, but nothing like this, because we are talking about major files. So earlier today, I was on I had Astrovault on, and they were cutting some promo videos. So I was just hosting and setting it all up. And when it was done, 1.1 gigabyte file we recorded for about 50 minutes. That's about right. I went ahead and uploaded it to Jackal. I generated a viewable link, and I just sent it to them on Discord for them to download that file. Now that's 1.1 gigabytes. Up till now, there is for mom and pops, for me and you, for people who are not in the know, it is effectively impossible for us to transfer a file like that unless we set it on a thumb drive and handed that person over to it, or handed it over to who we're sharing it. We can't do it via email. We can't do it via normal things that everybody else does. We can't do it like that because they're all restricted and cut off at about 50 megabytes. I sent them 1.1 gigs. And had we ran that thing out longer, 4 times as long, a 4 gig file, I would have sent them a 4 gig file and just transferred it directly from user to user without it seeing the light of day, meaning that we didn't have to use a third party to do this. I didn't have to ask Amazon Web Services to hook me up. Here's my data. Take a look at it. Make sure you make a copy of it, and then pass it on to the person I'm sending it to. We didn't do any of those things. I transferred that file from me to him, just like that, and nobody is the wiser for it. So when I say I don't think people are quite grasping what you just built here, this is the perfect privacy system. All the way around, in any way that you measure it, it is the perfect system of privacy for people who want to transfer data and don't really want to be bothered with a lot of this. Really want to be bothered with it, to learn P2P, to learn file sharing, to learn all that stuff. You took it all away. You just made every single thing that they're doing obsolete, and you made it better. You encrypted it end to end. You just wiped out every traditional method of people transferring data. You can do it right here, faster, better, cheaper, safer, private, and with very, very little knowledge needed on the consumer's part. Anybody can figure out how to upload a file, and it's not real hard to generate a shareable link because you got a big button up there that says share, click it, pay it, off, here's your link, and send it on. So
Yeah.
I do have to give you a round of applause for this because, again, I don't think people are wrapping their heads around it. Now, we have a little bit of a problem, Marston. I thought, and I told you, we're going to get to all your questions, everything out there. That's why we got Marston here. But you and I have a little bit of a problem, Marston. So you can't see it. I'm going to go full screen for a second. You can see it if you're watching the video. So this is Aegis. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but this is the mobile version of Jackal. That's it. That's what it is. I can dress it up any way I want. This is the mobile version of Jackal. So when I come over here to view and manage files, these are just some files that I've uploaded. And when I click that little button right there, see, there's another icon that's missing there because that's what we're implementing right now, right next to the trash can button, which is a bigger deal than I think people can quite wrap their heads around. Marston, how familiar are you with traditional storage? Amazon Web, Azure, anybody. How familiar are you with it? Okay. Do you know what the Data Retention Act is?
Yeah, they have to keep it for so long.
Yeah, which means that they have a copy of it. It's put down on the metal layer, and it's going to be stored forever and ever. Do you guys keep a copy of everything? Do you store it forever and ever?
No. Literally the second you submit like a delete request to the chain, the storage providers are not incentivized to store that data anymore, and so it's built into the code that like they just wipe it because it's not worth anything to them anymore.
And see, that's why we have a little trash can button there. Now we also have the nuke button, because I remember telling this to Aaron a long time ago, dude. I want a delete all button. I want the big candy-like shiny red button where I hit it and it wipes out everything on that wallet, and he built it. So we also have the candy-like button in here. Don't touch it unless you're sure. All right, if you want it all gone, it's all gone. So that little button right there is, again, another monumental Herculean consumer feature that is not available anywhere else, because as soon as you send it to iCloud, as soon as you send it to Azure, as soon as you send it to AWS, they see it, they copy it, they hold it for 5 to 7 years because they're required to by law. So don't think just because you delete it that it's gone, because it isn't. But see, over here on Jackal, it is. And the man who can make that possible is sitting right next to me on the frame over here to my stage left. He's the guy who makes sure that happens. But the button that I'm missing on here, Marston, because we're implementing right now, is the share button. See, now what I want to do with this, because you made it possible, is I want to click that file, I want to hit that share button, and then I want my contact list to pop up and see who am I going to share it with. Now, we can do all of these things because Jackal can do all of these things. But what I can't do is know who the hell that I'm sharing it with, because we don't ask our customers any information. We ask them just a shade above what you guys ask them. You say, do you have a Kepler wallet? You do? Welcome to Jackal. We don't do that. We say, do you have an email address? And if you do, welcome to Aegis. So we're kind of running into an issue here is we don't want to ask our customers for any more information than we possibly need, but we also want to enable this file sharing. So Marston, back in the day, Jackal made an RNS service. Do you remember that? Do you remember? Because I'm pretty sure you built it. Yeah. So what are the odds of us getting that back online so that we can simply share files with an RNS name? Because that's a hell of a lot easier. Now, granted, anybody can plumb an RNS and find wallet addresses and all that other stuff, but it's more palatable. It will be simply more palatable to everybody, all of our users, if we could do something like that. So I can click that button and look up for Marston Khan and click and send the file to you. What are the odds of getting that RNS back?
Yeah, so it's live right now in Jackal.js. So if you're using like developer libraries, it's right there. But as far as like a good user interface for it, we're launching that next week. We've been hard at work bringing those names back online. And once that goes live, you're going to have a really nice user interface to manage all your names and start using them for referral links and stuff like that.
Yes, and we really need those because it's such an awesome use case for this. But the thing that it's going to fly over the heads of everybody. It'll do it again. It did it. Jackal, what you guys did flew over everybody's head. And what we're going to do with Aegis is going to fly over everybody's head as well, because we're talking about how big of a file, what's the maximum file size that I can share on Jackal?
Right now, it's hard capped at 32 gigs from protocol level, because at that point, the Merkle trees just get too big. So we're working on big data and getting files put into 32 gig pieces. But right now, like super straightforward, it's 32 gigs.
Okay. So what mobile application, Marston, can I use to share a 32 gig file with somebody else? If anybody would know, you would know. Who could I use to do that?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You're the CTO of Jackal, which is a data storage platform, and you don't know what it's a shitty question, dude, because there isn't one. There isn't one, at least not one that I'm even remotely aware of. But we're talking about an app that is palatable to the masses. We're talking about people who don't need to learn things or to jailbreak phones or to do any of that stuff, and we could transfer 32 gigabyte files mobily between you, with no third-party intermediary and nobody even knowing that it happened. That's what we can do. That's what Jackal can do. So as soon as we implement it, and we're going to be waiting on the RNS, but as soon as we get that in, base functionality is in, but now we need to build the contact list. That's where we're stuck at. But once that goes in, Jackal, and like I said, I mean, you guys know you know what we're about here, dude, all right? We're the mobile version of you. That's all we are. So the harder you work and the more great features that you implement just makes the app better. So thank you, man. You got to keep on it. But we can transfer those files mobily via smartphone. What do you need? Internet connection. Anywhere.
I know we can do that. Patrick loves the whole data transfer thing, like, more than anything. I think he put out a tweet about it, basically being like cool things that somebody else should definitely build. And one of them is like having data rooms and being able to like transfer entire estates worth of documents in one click and stuff like that. It's pretty cool what's possible. Here
it is. So yeah, man, that's nice and easy. But yeah, it's going to fly over everybody's head. Now, the only reason that I'm mentioning that, and I know I'm not asking you to speak on this because you know, but you're not going to tell anyway, is Jackal is currently in the process of building a den over on base. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So when the den goes up over on base, which means that anybody who's building on base that needs to have decentralized storage, single line of code, simple contract call, boom, your data is going over to Jackal. Do I understand that correctly?
Absolutely.
Okay, so once that actually goes live, though, the token's going to migrate over there. So we're going to actually be having a token bridged over on base. And I don't know, or if he said it, I don't know, but my guess would be like Aerodrome or something like that is probably where it's going to launch its Great Decks. I don't know, though, and I'm not asking you. I'm speculating here. But you guys are talking about the best tech that I'm sorry, man. Look, this is the finest shit that's came out of blockchain as long as there's been blockchain. Application of blockchain technology. DeepIn was the start. DeepIn was the very start, because you've got to build the infrastructure to support apps. Jackal, Akash, so forth, all these other guys, they actually built it out, and then it goes over to what's built on top of it. So you get something coming out like Aegis that is built on top of it, which is the perfect application of blockchain technology. And you move all this cool stuff, and then you suddenly bring it into a place that has oceans of liquidity. Things get a little bit goofy at that time. So if you guys are familiar with crypto, you understand what I mean. I'm pretty sure you can plumb what I'm getting at. Not asking Marston. He's not the business side. Patrick's the business side. I could plumb him, but he ain't going to say shit anyway. Patrick he keeps his card. This is Patrick right here. He's playing poker. He's got him right up to his chest. He didn't even put him on the goddamn table. He holds him that close to him. He just cuddles him. All right. So Marston. Yep. I appreciate you chatting it up with me, man, but we're going to turn it over to the audience now. I will be dropping in comments because I know one of the questions, and I'm going to throw an ask after that question. You'll know it when you get to it, and if you don't, I'll certainly jump on it. But with that, guys, I appreciate you indulging me for 20 minutes talking this stuff up there. Guys, we're building shit. We're building amazing things, and as long as the technology exists and the technology improves and it's getting better and better and better, and you can make it palatable for the masses, then crypto, the reason that you need a crypto token is because we need a blockchain. But aside from that, it's going to change the game. So anyway, with that, Belle, are you still here, Belle?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Well, take it away. The show belongs to you now. We're not taking any breaks because I don't think we're going to get all of this jammed into an hour. So, yeah, Marston, butter yourself up. Belle, please take it
Sounds
away.
good.
I'm going on mute. Go, Belle.
Professor Pandemonium from Twitter. Are there plans for account abstraction and removing the friction of a wallet for Jackal Vault? Like letting users sign up with email password and the crypto stuff is there for the nerds if they want, but the option for Web 2 normies is also there.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the big things that we're actively looking at is basically passkey wallets. So you probably use them by now, but they're a newer thing. They're there to replace usernames and passwords, but Google, Apple, all those major players have kind of started implementing them. But essentially, it will just act as a Web 2 sign up, and then you'll pay for your storage with a credit card, and Jackallabs, or quite literally anyone that you entrust with actually like uploading your transactions and paying your gas for you. Those are just going to basically shoot your transactions to the blockchain for you, and you're not it'll be a fully trustless situation. So same thing, you'll still have self-custody over your data, but there will be a third party sending your transactions to the chain, paying your gas, and buying your storage for you. So that'll all be managed through Jackallabs initially, but any third party that wants to hop on board and do that as well is more than welcome. So that is kind of our next beachhead for getting people onboarded onto Jackal without needing crypto.
And that's actually my ask. That was the very first question. I knew this was coming, and that's actually my ask. We've begun development. Aegis has begun development on the desktop version of Aegis. Now, we need the desktop because users, consumers are accustomed to everything syncing. So we need to be able to make sure that the mobile is synced to the desktop, and that what you change on the desktop is going to change on mobile. So we're actually doing all that. We are the third party. So if you could drag your feet on that a little bit and let us be first to market with this, that helps you, right? It saves you guys time. We're hey, we're in this together. So if you could find something cooler to build than that, we'd appreciate it, because we're still going to need 3 months. I mean, it's a desktop version. It's a hell of a lot easier to do it desktop than it is mobile. But yeah, we are already doing that. So if you guys can find something else cooler to build, let us beat you to market on that one. It helps you anyway.
Admittedly, we're probably not going to get to it until after we make it over to base, and even then, I know there's people working on passkey integration and everything with base already. So it might just come a point where once we hit base, then we work with one of the base teams that are already doing that and kind of integrate with them, so that we don't even need to run anything, but it's still up in the air.
Yeah, it's not for us. We've actually begun development. I know consumers, dude. You guys focus on enterprise. We'll take care of everything else. Anyway, Belle, that's it. I'm done. Go ahead, Belle. Have fun.
All right. Atom Bomb. Eli 5, how Jackal removed the ingress and egress costs? Is it because the provider is eating the bandwidth, or because Jackal is actually decentralized, and so you don't need to route data through a central server?
Yeah, great question. A little bit of both. So definitely, like, there is that element of decentralization where one single machine isn't managing all of the network traffic. So when you upload a file, right, it gets split out to 3 pieces, or 3 copies, I should say, and each of those providers is eligible to serve that file back to you, so you can download it off their machines. And so we spread out the load of which machines are actually being used to download your files. And so with that, you don't need to manage the ingress and egress that you'd normally have to on something like AWS, where it's all running through a central node. But secondly, like, all of our kind of econ is built around kind of adding those ingress and egress fees for the providers that are eating the bandwidth into the reward structure. So because everything's spread out, our econ model was able to give it a lot more flexibility to manage that.
All right, next one coming in from Twitter. Dude from internet.btc. Does Jackal plan to offer a data availability layer for other chains as a product or as a toolbox? Would Jackal stand a chance against Celestia from a technical standpoint?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've played around with it a little bit. I think honestly, the best situation is having some sort of data availability system, whether that be Celestia or like straight up just using Ethereum. And essentially, you'd post like the hash of the block to Ethereum, but that only gets you so far, right? You're not looking at just the hash and being able to determine everything about that block. And sometimes you want the entire block information instead of just the hash of the block, which doesn't really tell you much. And so I think a perfect use case for Jackal is kind of pairing a data availability platform like Ethereum or Celestia with Jackal, where you are kind of creating a pointer or like that hash to the block on Celestia or Ethereum. And then you're actually posting the full block as a file on Jackal. And that way you can kind of get the best of both worlds of permanent data storage on Jackal with the whole block's information being there, as well as details about it in kind of a central location like Celestia or Ethereum.
Okay, so T-Image off of Twitter. Looking back on the year, what went well? What could have went better? Shipping goals for next year?
Yeah. Oh man, that's another really great question. I think honestly, one of the best things that happened to us this year was Coney Daddy coming on board. Redoing all of our branding, and there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, even just outside of the branding. But he's designed the whole vault front end and everything, and so it's given us a lot more flow within Jackallabs. So before, when we were working with designers out of the company, we'd ask for a design for something, they'd bring it back to us. They had other clients, of course. And with that being said, we wouldn't get the design back right away. And on top of that, if we had any changes we wanted, we'd then have to kind of create a list of everything that we want changed, send it back, and go through this terrible process that just wasted so much time. So now having somebody in-house, and especially it being Coney Daddy in-house, has just smoothed that whole process right out. Like I can say, I need an icon for the part of the dashboard, and he'll get it to me like that same day. And that obviously speeds up development like crazy. But aside from that, I think just kind of the flow of Jackallabs as a whole has gotten a lot better, especially with V4. Everybody kind of knows how the protocol's working now because the protocol's kind of settled. And with that, it feels like everybody can kind of hop from product to product very seamlessly because it's all built on the same tech stack now, and we're not changing how the files are represented from V3 to V4. And so now that everything's smoothed out, just the whole workflow's gotten a lot better, and it's really fun to see it all kind of come together. But things that could have gone better, I guess the launch of V4 was very segmented. There's a lot of just like back and forth communication with what we actually wanted out of V4. And so there was a lot of scope creep where we kept adding and adding and adding things to version 4. And with that, it took a longer to launch V4 than we initially hoped. And that just got in the way of a lot of other things, and having Stratus built out for Web 2 customers, and then having to revamp it all for V4, just kind of threw a fork in things a little bit. And so now we have a much better like project management workflow so that we can kind of prioritize things a little bit more carefully now that the protocol is live and good. So I think that's going to fix things a lot. But for 2025, I mean, huge end goal here is base integration, just EVM outposts and potentially other outposts like the Solana outpost. Getting that live is a huge priority. And the second kind of major 2025 goal is that S3 Amazon AWS drop-in replacement, which was called Stratus. We might do a rebrand. We're still playing around with that idea because it's a slightly different product, but doing the same thing. Pay with a credit card. It plugs into existing Web2 tech, and it just kind of hops in, and you just upload your stuff to Jackal very seamlessly. And that's kind of the two main things that we're working on for 2025. And then things like account abstraction can get sprinkled in there if we have time for it.
I'm going to let it carry on here, Belt, but I do got a question for you, Marston, in regards to the Stratus.
Yeah.
It will plug into any traditional Web 2, anything that's like hosted by AWS, correct?
Yeah, so it's going to be S3 compatible. So anything that was using AWS, Wasabi, Storj, anything like that's drop in.
So we talking like Ring doorbells?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not too familiar with how their stack works, but I know a lot of products like that will just ask you for an S3 like endpoint and your key, and then you just kind of get that chucked in there, and
Yeah,
you're
it
good to
does.
go.
I have a Ring doorbell, and the reason that I'm
Then there you go.
and the reason that I'm asking this is because do you have any idea how much personal information you feed to Amazon Web Services
It's crazy.
via? You would be shocked at what they are receiving, what they're recording, what they're storing, everything that comes out. Marston Connell left his door at 7:19 a.m. This is what he was wearing. This is what he climbed into. This is the license plate of his car, and this is the direction that he was driving. You are sending that over to Amazon Web Services every single day. And the one thing that I just, no matter how many times I point it out, it seems to get lost on people, is they are not good stewards of your data. Because any judge in any country can serve them, sign a piece of paper, hand it over to them, and they're going to give up everything about Marston Connell for any date range that they have, and you voluntarily gave it over to them. So I promise you, the second that thing goes live, I'm sending my data to Jackal. Because, Marston, what happens when I send it to Jackal? What happens to the data when I send it over via Stratus and it ends up on Jackal? What happens to that? What happens to that data?
Yeah, so with Stratus, kind of as it existed for V3 and how it's going to be very similar, but with some changes. Essentially, it's just going to go up to the Jackal like labs endpoint, and then it gets shoved straight to the Jackal protocol itself.
Okay, so can you see the data? Can you see what I'm sending up to you?
Yeah, initially, yeah. The idea was for Web2 companies who don't really care, but will have those service agreements in place. But the beauty is what we can do with that is it's all going to be open source. So you're going to be able to clone it yourself, self-host it. The Jackallabs version is just going to be for those of you who kind of want something easy and don't really care and just care about the geo-distributed data. But if you are somebody that wants to own it fully, you just spin up your own S3 server based on what Stratus was, and just get everything shipped up without ever touching any third party at all.
Now, and for me, it's personally, I understand that it's visible at that time, but it's going to come down to who is going to be better stewards of my data. Is it going to be Amazon Web Services, who I know what they're going to do, or is it going to be Jackal? Which one is going to be a better steward of my data? And I'm going to say that it's going to be Jackal in this case. So I have no problem getting Amazon Web Services completely out of my life. But the other thing is that it's cheaper to do it on Jackal. That's all. That's really all it comes down to, man. It's cost.
It is. And you get a lot of benefits just for free. Like it's, geo-distributed, self-healing redundancy, all that stuff that you get with Jackal. The only thing that you wouldn't get from the Jackallabs hosted Stratus is that encryption. But as I say, if you're self-hosting, it's all yours. All that encryption is yours as well.
Okay. Well, as you are the CTO, and we're going to get back to questions. Marston, I'm about to hit the download button on a 90 megabyte file. How long will it take me to download that file? Make a guess. Do it now. You built the damn thing. How long is it going to take
90 megabytes?
Me? Yep.
Like 20, 30 seconds, maybe.
Okay. All right. We're going to do it live. I love to test in production. All right. So here's the file, 89.9 megabytes. Everybody can see it. I'm going to hit the download button. And 1, 2, 3 seconds. It came back in 3 seconds. So Marston,
There you
I
go.
got to ask, man, do you overestimate everything? Because 3 seconds as opposed to 20 seconds seems like the fuck did you build here, dude? 90 megabytes in 3 seconds. You just saw it live. I love this love this protocol. Anyway, go ahead, carry on, Bell. Bell's muted right now. Yeah, you are.
I'm also multitasking, so give me a break.
Okay.
All right, so Zazo Think Tank coming in from Twitter as well. What is happening with the web gateway Shepherd from last year? Is that coming back around?
Yeah, that's so we put it on a little bit of a hold because a lot of the web gateway stuff that we were really seeing Shepherd be used for was like publicly hosting data, and because Jackal is just fully IPFS compatible, for a lot of the spaces that we were kind of looking at using Shepherd, IPFS gateways already existed, so we were just piggybacking off of that. So we didn't really feel a super strong need to put Shepherd at a higher priority than a lot of the other projects we've been working on, like Jackal Names. But the really good thing is that we are bringing that back very shortly. We already have a demo of it that isn't pushed yet, but it's just fully internal. And it is up and there and it's running. And it currently reads your downloads the same way that the Vault is doing. So you create that shareable link and you can view it straight from Shepherd. It gets the actual file down. We're just working on making kind of that developer experience better for Shepherd and everything right now. But it is coming back. But for a lot of your needs for that right now, it's already totally possible with the IPFS gateways that exist.
All right, so next question was actually sent to me through email from Makokata Streamwalker. So earlier in the Jackal Discord, you're supposed to use stakingexplorer.com to get a history of your transactions. He says, however, this only gives me transactions back to spring of 2024 with the error message jackal.api.nodes. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that before. I was told, okay, I guess the node doesn't have a lot of history on it. What about the older transactions? How can I retrieve those? They're important for tax purposes, especially for those doing their own taxes.
Yeah, that is definitely one of those things that we're working on right now and trying to get it sorted. Is we have one archive node that has the full history. If you want to email us, then we can help you with that. But we kind of put out like a request for proposal, I guess, on having a full indexer so that we won't actually need to like save all the transactions on an archive node necessarily, but just getting everything kind of sorted out on a proper scalable database that isn't the blockchain, just so that you can read everything super fast. So that's in the works right now. As I say, if you need something like today for tax purposes, just let us know, and we can help you out with that. But a better user interface for that is definitely coming soon.
All right, Hallie Crypto. Jackal appears with a great data solution on the blockchain. What is the growth projection for 2025? How many people can we reach with this solution?
Yeah, that's a good question. Admittedly, it's a little out of my scope as far as estimating that goes, but we are working really hard to get other blockchain networks onboarded. So I forget who put out the report, but Patrick always shows me this report of how many active developers there are on each blockchain platform, and Cosmos is very, very low compared to Base or Solana. And so the goal for us right now is getting Jackal to Base and getting it to Solana and doing all that good stuff. And when that happens, I mean, if you just look at the numbers, there's like 50 times minimum more developers on Base alone than there is all of Cosmos. And so if we can get over there and we scale proportionately, then we're looking at 50 times more users. So that's kind of our main goal there. And then Same with the S3 system. Web 2 developers are far more common than Web 3 developers. And so if we can get even a small market share of Web 2 developers, then we will grow a lot.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, 380 megabytes, 22 seconds. I'm actually a little
there
disappointed.
You go. That was what my guess of 20 seconds was for. There's Scott.
I thought it would take 15, and I downloaded the file just before I flipped over and did it live in production, because there's nothing like testing in production or testing live. No, I thought it'd be quicker than that one, because I did it before and it took 8 seconds. So one shot was 8 seconds. The second shot took 22 seconds. But either way, I mean, it's really
it could be different
impressive.
Providers. Some providers are slower than other ones.
Yep, and it's on 3 providers right now. So the first one I got a hot provider. Second one I did not. Are you going to be able to handle 20,000 Aegis users? Are you guys in a position right now, bandwidth-wise, scalability-wise, all that stuff, to be able to handle 20,000 Aegis users? Can you handle it, or are you going to destroy our good name because your your system can handle our upload? Are you ready for it?
No, it's looking really good right now. V4 improved things like immensely. We are looking at it right now, and there's not, back in V3 we were finding like some of our blocks were taking a really long time, and now our blocks aren't even close to full really, and there's really no impact on block time. We're doing like less than 6-second blocks. I think we're at like 5.75 on average right now, and so the fact that that's not a problem at all, and even today consensus spheres have not been turned back on since V4, because we wanted to launch it in like a pure organic system, and consensus spheres lower bandwidth to like 1 or 2% of what it's currently running at. So the fact we're facing those scalability issues today, and a whole bunch of our optimizations aren't even in place yet, it's a really good sign.
Well, our whole goal is to blow you up. That's it, and that's my goal. I talked to Patrick,
and if you do, that would be great.
That's my whole goal, is to force you to scale. That's it. That's I've set my mind to this. I'm retired, dude. I have nothing else to do. All right, then try to get users to blow you up. And when we do, I need you and Patrick both on the stream so that you can face your audience and say, I'm sorry, we weren't prepared for this kind of inrush.
If you can break this thing down, that would be great, because then we'd have an excuse to build really cool stuff to scale.
To force it to scale.
Yeah, we have a really, really fantastic idea in the pipeline that we'll get to eventually. It's just kind of not worth our time right now. But it's splitting the network into a bunch of small networks, and then having the storage providers all kind of belong to their own smaller pieces. And then all your reward structures and everything, the user won't know there's multiple networks. They're just going to run everything through that one core network, and then all the small networks are going to handle all the bandwidth for us, and then we can just scale horizontally.
You know what? That's my goal, babe. My goal, because that's fantastic, man. That is an excellent idea for horizontal scaling out, and that's what we're going to force you to do. So yeah, man, that's it. You've incentivized me to. Oh, I got you. Belle, carry on, please.
All right. So nuclear chicken, and I'm not sure how to answer this one. Why do I have to have a horrible migraine on Jackal night? I love listening to them talk about this amazing project.
Go ahead and answer that question, Marston. Why does nuclear chicken have a headache?
I don't know. Probably the same reason that my throat's sore today. The world just likes to mess with you.
Okay. That's a different answer, or it could just be because he knows he's about to come up on a mind-blowing experience and his mind can't handle it.
True.
All right. So nuclear chicken. What happens to purchased RNS names if they expired while RNS was not visible? Not sure if mine did or not, but want to check next week when it comes back online.
Yeah, we thought about this. So anybody's RNS name that was purchased on Juno before we did all the migration, they got extended. So everybody's RNS name is available to like at least, I think it's March 2025.
Oh my God, dude. When did you launch that on Juno? I did a video on it, and I'm not going to go plumbing through my videos because I have like 8,000 videos.
It was 2022.
Yeah,
I know it was 2022. I want to say it
Yeah.
was early summer.
I can't even think back that far. I have no idea, but I know I did a video on it. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go and find that video and I'm going to post it and I'm going to share it and I'm going to post it on Twitter so everybody can look through that. There we Hey,
the
dude,
interface is a lot better now, Scott. That's a promise.
Yeah, okay. But you know what? It doesn't matter, man. You can't erase the internet. You guys know how this works. And how can I show how impressive it is if I can't show how impressive it wasn't? All right, this is it. Coney Daddy will agree with me on this one. Carry on, Bill.
All right, Makoka to Streamwalker. Aren't download speeds really limited by your internet provider?
Yes. That's actually one of the biggest challenges with running this decentralized network is it's very, very difficult to measure bandwidth speeds because even, one day it's going to be like even myself at my like home network, sometimes my network will just like go down or get really slow for no reason. And it's just because of my internet service provider. And so with that, it's really, really hard to reward providers based on that. So what we're finding is some providers have a much faster internet speed than others. And I think eventually, we're still early in the network. The faster providers are going to get more files on their system than the slower providers. And it's just going to incentivize there to be good providers all the time because they're going to make more money. And so slower providers aren't going to make nearly as much money. So it won't be worth running at a loss for them. But generally, once you start getting to certain internet speeds on the storage providers, you're pretty much always going to find that your download speeds are limited by your network rather than the storage providers. Because as I say, once we start kind of scaling and the storage providers start becoming a little more enterprise grade than they are today, we're going to find that pretty much every storage provider is at least over a gigabit upload or upload download speeds. And with that, your home internet just will not match that as far as like the storage provider speed. And if it does, that's great. You've got great internet, but most of the time it's gonna come down to your home network.
Dude, do you guys have fiber up there in the Great White North? Do you guys have fiber? Do you have fiber?
I personally don't. I did up in Ottawa. It's the hardest thing to live without. I went like 3 years with like I think it was a full gigabit download speed, and I was getting almost like a full gigabit over Wi-Fi. It was great. And then I come to Waterloo, and I can't get fiber at all. Nobody will even install it. So yeah, I'm just running on the classic cable.
You're in Waterloo because we have a Waterloo, Iowa, dude. Can I come out and we can hang out and we could eat Taco Bell? We could eat a whole bunch of Taco Bell. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Where do you live in Waterloo? Because we have a Waterloo, Iowa. So you live in I didn't know you were an American. I had no idea. And by the way, I just downloaded that same file, dude, and it went in 8 seconds. We're going to do it one more time. We're going to do it one more time, live, testing in production. That's the way to do it. I just popped it again, and it took about 8 seconds. And I am on fiber. So let's see if it does it again. Doing it live, everybody. Here we go. There's the Jackal dashboard. We'll hit the download button. 1,000, 2, 1,000. It better work better this time, Bell, because the last one, it's like you cycle. There we go. 8 seconds, guys. That's what it took. You just saw it with your own eyes. Round of applause for Marston. Look at him. Look at him all hangdog and droopy dog expression, dude. Did you just see what I fucking did, man? I don't understand, dude. Where is the emotion? I mean, are you that you turned 23 and suddenly all the joy left your life?
He's 16. Get it right.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that we just downloaded 300 and whatever megabytes in seconds. And I got to ask you, Marston, I'll throw in my personal question. What other decentralized, fully, truly decentralized blockchain storage network can I do what I just did on Jackal? Which one is it? Go ahead, man. Give me a name.
None of them.
None of them. I don't, this is going over. I don't understand why people are still fading this, man. You guys, the best tech is going to win out. All right. I know it's crypto. It's all speculative. We don't do anything. We hawk Tua. All right. We jump on there and we get buried inside of 20 minutes to the tune of about $400 million. I understand that's the way that the world perceives crypto, but that's not crypto. or that is crypto, but this isn't crypto. This is blockchain. And the only way that you can solve the problems that we seem to have and offer them is with blockchain solutions. And you just saw it with your own eyes. I don't understand why people are, it doesn't matter. Belle, carry on.
All right. So next one coming in from Zazo Think Tank, and this one's just a little food for thought. Why would we use Filecoin when we have Jackal?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think there are merits to Filecoin. I think their platform has security guarantees that we don't have because we chose to allow you to get your data back in 24 hours in exchange for, or sorry, like before 24 hours, right? You get your data back instantly. Filecoin has a whole like ingress egress fee charging system to get a little more guarantees in there and encode your file so that you're proving that you have the data over the span of like a week, whereas we just check it every 6 or I think it's 12 hours right now. And so I think there are some merits to like archive storage on Filecoin. I think it's a really great cold storage platform, but generally it's once you start factoring in 3x redundancy and geo-distributed storage, you're not really going to find that Jackal is a lot more expensive because with Filecoin, right, you don't get that 3x auto healing redundancy, and there's a lot more overhead. So our whole plan has always just been user experience. But if you are running like a archive node, then yeah, Filecoin is good for like iceberg storage for sure.
And there's nothing wrong with it, man. I ain't gonna bash them. They're a good platform, dude. All right, I'm not gonna bash them, and I don't even know what their market cap is, $5-6 billion. I'm not gonna bash them. They are excellent at what they do, but what they do is not what Jackal can do. I just showed you live what Jackal can do. Filecoin cannot do it. They are different platforms. This is not even apples and oranges kind of comparison here, man. It's like apples and plywood. All right, they are wildly different things. What Filecoin does and what Jackal does are incredibly different things. So if you are focused on consumers, if you're focused on enterprise, if you're focused on an active storage environment, meaning that you need to send stuff up and get stuff back, Filecoin simply cannot do that. If you want to clump a whole bunch of data and you want to zip the ever-loving hell out of it and send it back and just send it packing for 20 years, Filecoin's fine. They're cheap, all right? The price is affordable, and they will do that. But for consumers, people who actually want to send data up and get data back, there is no substitute out here. I have ran the tests. I have tried all of these things because if there's a better product, I want to be talking about them, but I haven't found one. So who knows what the next 2 years are going to bring, but right now they are the standard that which everything else should be measured. Belle, please carry on.
I'm actually going to tag on to that a little bit. I can think of a couple of examples where people might use Filecoin over Jackal. And okay, so if you've got pictures of a relative that is deceased and they died like 10 years ago, okay, you might consider putting those up on Filecoin. If you've got files you immediately need to work with, well, Jackal's your protocol. I mean, just saying.
That's it. Look, I can sum it up even simpler. If Filecoin was superior, we would have built Aegis on Filecoin. Not saying that I have a personal vested monetary interest in this, but if Filecoin was better, we would have built it there. Anyway, carry on, Belle.
I mean, I'm alive and kicking, so I prefer Aegis over Filecoin. But yeah, what am I saying? All right, so Badger Bite. Scott is probably drinking whiskey. What is Marston drinking?
I saw it. He's drinking water.
No, I got Gatorade. Yeah.
I am so disappointed. I was literally posting about you today on a Twitter thread. Somebody was like, I'm going to follow Marston. I said, you should. He's tall. All right. He's tall. He has excellent choice. He has excellent taste in bourbon. He's young. He's fresh. He is brilliant. And of course you should follow him. There are so many reasons to hate you, bro. I mean, You need to. All right, look, we need a hookers and blow event to occur around you so that we can say that, yeah, he's just a human. Because right now you're just 100% better than me. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons for me to dislike you. At least drink some booze with me. All right, you suck. Tonight I'm drinking.
Okay, you gotta remember, even in the province where he's at, he's too young. He's 16.
He's 16. He breaks my heart. Belle, please carry on. Let's get to the rest of the questions. We got about 5 minutes.
All right, so Toot, I love Marston. He can answer any question. I'm convinced.
There you go, man. How does that make you feel, Marston? You going a big rubbery one, dude?
Yeah, that's great.
Look at him. Look at him. He's all blushing. He's going to get all shy. He's still a young guy. Carry on, Belle.
Ambido, has the Jackal team considered developing any compression methods that might increase upload-download speeds and storage capacities?
Yeah, that's so we actually, not for upload and download specifically, but we do employ a lot of string compression in Jackal.js. So if you're posting stuff to your file tree in order to save you like a ton of gas, you're uploading everything compressed. So we compress everything and then we encrypt it, and then when you bring it back down, we decrypt it and decompress things. A lot of the stuff that we see with storage, like the files specifically, is like for things like images and everything, we don't want to employ any sort of encryption mechanisms against it, compression mechanisms against it, because we want to store the file as you're uploading it. We don't care what file you give us. We're going to encrypt it happily and ship it up to the network. But if you give us a file and it's an image, compressing it might result in some loss. If we're switching from like PNG to JPEG and back, and we don't want to ever make it so that your file isn't the exact file you uploaded. So if you're a developer and you want to build a front end on Jackal that manages like specifically media, yeah, go nuts, start compressing stuff and making it feel better for the user and everything. But as far as like the core protocol and everything, we don't want to touch it. We just want to upload what you're giving us.
That's got a real Silicon Valley vibe to it, dude. Have you seen the program Silicon Valley? Because I'm guaranteeing that you've seen
Not a lot of it.
Yeah, but you've seen some of it. So what's the Weissman score on your compression?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't
is.
actually, I have no idea. That's like all Aaron. Aaron manages all the compression stuff.
All right, can we get an answer for this and have this discussion on Twitter? What's your Weissman score? You didn't think I knew that term, did you? I've seen Silicon Valley, so I'm familiar with the Weissman score, dude. What is it? Is it 3.28, 4.65? What is it, man? Make a guess. Come on, go on record.
I'm going to be so honest with you. I have literally no idea. Aaron said this is going to compress everything, and I said that's great. Like I had no part in it.
Oh, I'm having fun. Carry on, Bill.
That was actually the last question, since I was asked to skip the last one.
Yeah, and you know what's wonderful about that? We are exactly at time. Marston's a busy guy. He's got to get back and make Jackal better. So we don't want to tie up too much of his time, but Marston, as is typical on here, Bell gets the very last word, but you get the last word after where I sit here and babble for a minute. So please tell us, why are you excited about Jackal? Why should we be excited about Jackal? Then we'll turn it over to Bell and we'll let you get about your day.
Yeah, I mean, Jackal is coming to Base, it's coming to Solana, it's coming to every network that we can possibly get our hands on. So we're really excited to bring that fully decentralized private storage to whatever blockchain network you want to work on. And with that being said, Jackal Names is coming out next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And there's a lot more stuff coming out this year. So
we're very excited for all of that. Bell, if you could please, ma'am, talk us up, talk us out. I don't think we've ever, I can't even see a fucking thing right now. I don't think we've ever gotten out of here right at 7 o'clock, but we did this time. So Bell, if you could please talk us up, take us out of here. We will see you guys tomorrow. Bell, do your thing.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who attended this evening and asked Marston some absolutely fantastic questions, we cannot say thank you guys enough. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Now, any follow-up questions or things you want to know from Marston that you didn't want to ask during this live stream, email those over to bella@thepodcasts.com, and I will make sure Marston gets them and those get answered for you. Guys, we literally cannot thank you enough. Scott's going to be back on in the morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Again, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
We are dropping new videos and podcasts every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And be sure to look for us on Instagram, Twitter, and Parler at ThePodocasts. Also, visit our page at ThePodocasts.com, all one word,